With the destruction of just one US aircraft, Iran may have altered the wider momentum of the Middle East war. The loss of the roughly $300 million E-3 Sentry has reportedly damaged Donald Trump's war effort by weakening America's ability to spot threats. Analysts say Iran's strike in Saudi Arabia was a strategic blow because it targeted not just hardware, but one of the core systems that helps the US manage the air war. Iranian fire raining down on Prince Sultan Air Base has raised fresh fears that the United States could now be partially blinded in the war. Experts and military commentators now suggest that Iran's March 27th strike on a Saudi air base may prove to be a turning point in the war, especially if the reported damage to key US aircraft is confirmed. Military Watch magazine said on March 28 that losing an E-3 flying radar would seriously disrupt the US war effort by degrading airborne surveillance, coordination, and wider battlefield awareness. Iran's attack on Prince Sultan Air Base reportedly resulted in the United States losing at least one E-3 aircraft, according to multiple reports that described it as one of the most valuable assets hit so far. The E-3 Sentry matters so much because it serves as the brain of air operations, helping commanders see the battlefield in real time. Its powerful radar is designed to detect incoming threats such as drones, missiles, and hostile aircraft. The aircraft can track activity from hundreds of kilometers away, allowing it to monitor wide areas of airspace. The E-3 also acts as a flying command center, combining surveillance with battle management so it can coordinate with forces. Because it is airborne and mobile, the aircraft can quickly relocate to new crisis zones, making it more flexible and survivable. The loss of such a jet would reduce the US military's ability to detect and help intercept incoming Iranian strikes by weakening airborne early warning and command coverage. Without AWACS coordination, US pilots can lose several critical minutes of early warning time, a gap that analysts say can make a major difference during high-speed missile and air defense engagements. The incident has also raised questions about why such a high-value asset was left exposed at a forward base during an active and expanding regional war. Before the conflict with Iran, the United States had deployed 6 E-3 aircraft to the Middle East, making any loss in that fleet especially serious for regional operations. Iran's March 27th strike reportedly destroyed US aircraft that could cost more than $1 billion to replace, making it one of the most serious claimed losses linked to the attack. The same strike may also have destroyed 3 stratotankers valued at around $80 million each, according to claims cited in reporting by Dropsite News. Photos that surfaced online reportedly appeared to show a destroyed Boeing E-3 Sentry at the Saudi air base, fueling speculation about a major blow to US airborne command capabilities. According to those reports, the fuselage of the command aircraft appeared torn open and badly burned out, suggesting extremely heavy damage from the strike. Notably, the United States E-3 fleet is already considered strained, with only about half of its aircraft believed to be regularly available for active missions. Reports also suggest that the US has only around 16 E-3 Sentry aircraft remaining, making any single loss especially significant for operational planning. The Iranian strike is also said to have hit as many as 6 KC-135 stratotankers, with reports claiming that 3 were damaged and 3 were destroyed. If confirmed, the strike could significantly affect US AWACS operations by weakening airborne surveillance, command coordination, and long-range threat tracking capacity. The spokesperson for the Iranian parliament also made a major claim about Kharg Island on March 28, portraying the strategic island as stable despite growing concerns over possible US action. Ibrahim Rizoi said that life has returned to normal in Kharg, according to reporting linked to Fars news agency and other Iranian media coverage. Rizoi added that Kharg Island is in complete security and said Iran's armed forces remain fully ready for any possible escalation around the island. He also warned that any aggression against Kharg Island would be met with a decisive and irreversible response, underscoring Tehran's attempt to deter any direct assault. Rizoi's remarks came amid reports of a possible US ground operation involving Kharg Island as Washington weighs options in the conflict. Notably, the United States is deploying troops from the 82nd Airborne Division to the Middle East as part of broader contingency planning for the region. That deployment has raised fears of a possible ground operation, especially as military preparations continue alongside a pause in some energy-related strike options. Reports say Iranian forces have already started laying mines and moved additional troops and defensive assets to the island in anticipation of a possible assault. Iran has reportedly been laying traps that include anti-personnel and anti-armor mines, making any attempted landing operation significantly more dangerous. Kharg Island is crucial because it reportedly handles roughly 90% of Iran's crude exports, making it a vital node in the country's economic survival. Reports have said the Trump administration has considered the island seizure as leverage tied to reopening or securing the Strait of Hormuz.
Along with a number of our colleagues, we have arrived at the resilient Kharg Island. God willing, life is continuing and oil exports are proceeding without any problems, and we have not seen any specific issues here. Security is completely established on the island. The valiant employees of the oil industry are also busy carrying out their activities on this island. What I can confidently tell you is that our armed forces are committed and sworn that if any aggressor violates this Iranian island, they will certainly face the harshest response and will not return alive.
Meanwhile, the IRGC warned that US troops would become shark food if Washington moves ahead with ground operations, underscoring the increasingly direct threats now surrounding any invasion scenario.
Trump, the President of the United States, has repeatedly threatened Iran with a ground operation and the occupation of certain islands in the Persian Gulf. There is no doubt that the President of the United States has become a pawn of the Prime Minister of the Zionist regime in the war of aggression against Iran, driven by pressure from the terrorist organization Mossad, exploiting his background in the Epstein case. The President of the United States, known as the most dishonest president in the world and lacking any intellectual or discursive stability, is utterly untrustworthy. Unfortunately, America's leaders have delegated command of the armed forces to someone whose erratic positions and dangerous, wrong-headed decisions have plunged the U.S. military into a swamp of death. Trump, whose commanders and soldiers are grappling with death daily in the region, due to their fear of being killed, have fled from destroyed bases and taken refuge in the service, population, and economic centers of regional countries, and of course will be targeted there as well. He and his senior commanders of the crumbling American army expect resistance from commanders and soldiers on battlefields thousands of kilometers away. Trump drums up a threatening topic one morning and backs down the same evening. He talks about negotiations one moment and decides to escalate the war a few hours later. This unstable and deceitful individual has inflicted immense damage on the people of America, Europe, and countries around the world, especially those in the Middle East. The President of the United States has proven that the only language he understands is the language of force. In response to Trump's recent threats of a ground operation or the occupation of any part of Iranian territory, which are nothing more than wishful thinking, we declare that the warriors of Islam have long awaited such actions. They will show that aggression and occupation lead only to the humiliating capture, dismemberment, and disappearance of the aggressors. American commanders and soldiers will become good food for the sharks of the Persian Gulf. It would be better if Trump and the leaders and commanders of the U.S. military studied the history of Iran once and learned a lesson from the valiant Iranian people's confrontations with aggressors throughout history, and did not lead their soldiers into captivity and death within the delusional circle of the unstable American president, nor turn the American people into mourners on a wide scale. The powerful Iranian armed forces will eagerly await the moment to obliterate your army if the American president's threat, an embodiment of delusion and lies, is carried out.